Hey, man, let's do a little talk about that Cowboys Jets game. It was nice to see one of our teams win this last week. I kind of wish it had been mine, if I'm being honest and selfish and all those other things, but it was you, and you won pretty handily. Were you hoping the score would be more, or were you pretty happy with how things turned out?
I think our score was right about where I would have hoped, right? 37 points. Like any game you're cheering in 37 points, I'm pretty happy with. I really don't think the Jets defense is as bad as they've suffered so far this year. But no, I'm happy with 37 points. I'm disappointed. It's probably even too strong a word. I'm not as big a fan of the take your foot off the gas, just kind of let them score a few points in the fourth quarter kind of thing. But I'm pretty happy with the way it ultimately was. I think the big thing that should be said in that game, I doubt, is there's a lot of talk about Dak Prescott this last week and a lot of different angles on where is he and who is he and what is he. And this game was a good one for him to kind of add to some positive on that storyline. He threw 18 to 29, not his most accurate day to be fair. Had 237 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty clean in a 37-point victory. I'll take that any day, Dak. Any day you want to do it, just go on out. Javonte Williams, another phenomenal game from him. 16 carries, 135 yards, and another touchdown. We talk about it regularly. I had no idea that he even had the potential to be this productive. Really excited to see what he does the remainder of the season. And then receiving Ryan Flournoy, which everyone knows as a big name receiver,
Yeah.
uh, came on
Also,
the scene. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I'm just excited for the guy, right? Because he's that guy who's like fifth on the depth chart, and he's getting some time in, and he's making the most of that. Pickens had a couple of catches, and one of them was pretty spectacular. Picked up a touchdown. Jake Ferguson was busy in the red zone. It's always a good place to see him. And so there's lots of really positive things on offense, and none of them are the big story. The big story really with that offense was that we had all these backup linemen in. And I was terrified that we wouldn't be able to stand up to anything. And they were pretty phenomenal. That is, Dak only took 1 sack. And I know we had an adjusted game plan for that, but it was pretty effective. So my hat's off to those guys. I think they were the story of the game on offense. What do you think from the offensive side of the ball? Does that make sense to you? Do you see anything else?
well, I've mentioned this to you before, and I'll emphasize it again here, is that when I watched Dallas play, as I went back and I watched the game again, and as I just watched, particularly on offense, I kept thinking, I've seen this before. You're telling me that you got an offense where the offensive line works really well, even when you lose some guys, because at the end of last year, the Cardinals were missing a bunch of guys. Spoiler, that's what I'm about to talk about, is Clayton Adams. And the offensive line still played well, still good gaps, still good protection. It seemed like just things flowed really well, even with backups. Okay. A lot of use of a running back who is performing above expectations. I think
Oh
people
yeah.
like James Conner, but we saw the best of him at a time in his career when you wouldn't think we'd be seeing the best. You'd think he'd be like winding down.
Right.
Okay. Very heavy use of tight ends. I think Jake Ferguson would agree that's happening right now. And
Yeah.
so to see that in action is a little bit painful for me, if I'm being honest, but it is something where I'm liking the way you're using it. And you combine that with Dak's already ability to have a pretty good passing game as it is, and some of your weapons, even without CeeDee Lamb, it's working pretty well on offense. I will say that what Flournoy reminded me of, I was like, look, a few years ago, this was Noah Brown, and he came out of
Yeah.
nowhere, and no one had any idea who he was. And I don't remember if CD was out or what, but he just came in and kind of took over and said, "Yeah, I'd love to get paid. Thank you very much." And then he
Yeah.
did. I don't think he got like a Jamar Chase deal or anything, but he's
Yeah.
definitely making a career out of this whole football thing. So
Mhm.
Florida's getting his chance now, and he's certainly, yeah, he's certainly capitalized on it on Sunday. So
Yeah.
that's where a lot of the positives were, I think.
Yeah.
And really, despite the score at the end, I was pretty impressed by your defense, and it was pretty spread
Yeah.
around.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you allowed some points in the fourth quarter, but outside of that, it seemed like they played pretty well, don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 5 sacks. I mean, I think a 5 sack day, pretty much anyone would be happy with that. Maybe not Cleveland; they probably want more. But 5 sack day, I'm very happy with that. And then Fowler. So Houston had 1.5 sacks. He led on sack side, which is fun to watch. Ezraku is still running around in there. I'm really keeping an eye on him, watching his development. But Dante Fowler, he hit the quarterback. He had 5 quarterback hits and a sack. He was a menace in there. So there's a lot of exciting things. The big question is going to be with the defense is how do we do against better offense? To the Jets' credit, they came into this game with a really good running game. And I was interested to see how they did against us with that. The answer is they did pretty well. We held Brees. That's probably not right. Brees got 113 yards. To say we held him is probably too kind. 8 yards of carries, not exactly holding anything.
No.
And he looked very impressive, very composed. He's a real factor in the game from their side. Again, it was limited damage. He was running a lot, but he didn't get in the end zone. So it's a measured thing. The other thing was Justin. Was he going to tear us up running as well? We were able to limit that as well. So, I mean, I'm happy with it. They also only averaged, I think, like 150 yards passing a game and ended up with 280 yards passing because we let them have like 100 and some yards in the fourth quarter. So, again, I think the Jets are going to win some games this year. I'm still a little shocked, honestly, that they haven't found a way to really incorporate Justin Fields in a more effective manner into that offense, especially in the red zone. It's really, you have a mobile quarterback like that. I would expect them to be able to get in the end zone a little bit easier. They've definitely had their struggles. So, but no, I'm very excited with the way the defense played. I'm looking forward to seeing how we pull that in, kind of coming up in the next games as we go forward. But no, there's a lot of positives. Still guys to get back from injury. So yeah, coming out of this game, I'll take the high.
Yeah. It's funny, your defense, one of the things I think that we predicted going into it was that, or at least I thought you might hold Brees Hall to say 60 or 70 yards off of 18-ish, 20-ish carries, but then Justin Fields might have 6 or 7 carries for another 50 or 60 yards. Well, it kind of went backwards. Brees Hall actually had a pretty good day off of 14 carries, I think. But Justin Fields, you actually contained. That has not been your pattern, so you kind of broke the loop, I suppose. It still adds up to the 2 + 2 = 4, and 1 + 3 = 4 too. So like it's still, I don't want to say it's a problem, but they still got there. They just did it in an unexpected way. So I don't know, maybe credit to them for that. But yeah, it was a good solid win for you. It was interesting to see how things go moving forward. But this week will be interesting. You get the Panthers. They're riding a little higher from that comeback win with Miami. No one wants to lose to Miami or Tennessee. But it'll be an interesting game. I'm sure that Rico Dowdle, who just had 206 yards, I believe, on the ground, is going to be licking his chops looking at you guys. So it'll be interesting.
100% agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Let's not overlook them.
No, not at all. No, Panther Leaf. Don't learn from the Cardinals. Do not overlook the Panthers. Okay. So, but anyways, we look forward to getting into that game some more here in the near future. So we will. It'll be fun to look at that one. So until that time, I hope everyone will maybe give us a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed this, and you come back and join us again. Tell us how much you hate the Cowboys down in the comments, or how much you love the Cowboys. There's only a few of those people, it seems like, anymore, but let us know. And big thank you to everyone who already has subscribed and joined us multiple times. And we look forward to talking about more stuff in the future. I hope that you have a great day and a fantastic week.